My name is Cleo. I'm 21, a literature student, and I have a secret. Not the kind that would ruin my life, just the quiet kind. The kind that slips between the cracks of conversation and stays hidden, not because it has to be, but because it feels safer that way. I run a blog, not a trendy one, not one with selfies or hashtags or updates about my day. Just words, small ones, honest ones. Most people wouldn't recognize the girl who writes there. She's softer, less guarded. She writes things like, "I don't want someone to fix me. I want someone to sit beside me while I learn how to hold my own pieces. And I remember every moment I never said out loud." Online, I go by Matchstrike. No real name, no photo, just me, unfiltered, in a way I never am in person. The blog started 2 years ago, when everything in my life felt like it was being said at the wrong volume. People too loud, feelings too big. I needed somewhere quiet to put the things I didn't know how to explain. I didn't think anyone would read it, and for a while, no one did. Until him. It's a Thursday night in October when it happens. I've just posted a short piece, barely 4 lines, a thought more than a poem, about how silence can feel like both a comfort and a punishment, about how sometimes I want to speak, but the words stay curled behind my teeth like they're afraid of the air. I almost delete it. Instead, I close my laptop, crawl under the covers, and fall asleep listening to the wind push against my window like it wants in. In the morning, I check the blog out of habit, and there it is, a new comment. Evening Lark. I don't know you, but this felt like being seen. Quiet can be cruel, but it can be beautiful too. Thank you for this. I read it twice, then again. Most comments on my posts are simple, hearts, emojis, I relate. But this one feels different. Like whoever wrote it didn't just read my words, they understood them. I click on their profile. It's blank. No bio, no links, just the name, Evening Lark. Something about it feels calm, thoughtful, like the kind of person who listens more than they speak. I almost reply right away, but I don't know what to say. Instead, I leave it alone and carry the comment with me for the rest of the day like a smooth stone in my pocket. 3 nights later, I post again, a letter this time, unsent of course, about how hard it is to be known without being asked to explain yourself, about the difference between being seen and being looked at. I don't expect a reply, but a few hours later, there it is. Evening Lark. If I had the right words, I'd leave them here. I think that's what makes your writing feel real. You leave the words half open, like a door someone forgot to lock. This time, I do reply. Matchstrike. Doors aren't always meant to be closed. Thank you for reading. Evening Lark. I read everything you post. That's the beginning of something I don't have a name for yet. In real life, things are simpler, or at least more predictable. At school, I'm the quiet girl in the back of the seminar room, the one who always has something to say but rarely raises her voice, the one who corrects professors in footnotes, not confrontations. I don't go to parties, I don't do group chats. I trust books more than people. There's one person who seems to notice me more than I'd like. Elias, graduate assistant, 24, sharp, calm, always watching. We've never been friends. If anything, we trade barbed comments in class. He's the kind of person who waits for everyone else to talk, then says one thing that makes the whole room go quiet. He's always neat, always unreadable. And lately, he's been looking at me differently. Like he sees something I didn't mean to show. That night, I post one more question. Do you ever feel like you're already in the middle of a conversation with someone, even though nothing's ever been said? The answer comes 10 minutes later. Evening lark. Yes, and those are the ones that matter most, because they begin where everything else stays quiet. I stare at the screen, the words glowing soft in the dark, and for the first time in a long time, I feel less alone. My fingers hover over the keys for a long time before I finally type. How do you know when to say something and when to just leave it unsaid? I don't expect an answer right away. Sometimes Evening Lark replies within minutes, sometimes hours. Once it was 2 days, but the reply is always worth it. Tonight, I leave the tab open and go make tea. I don't check it again until after midnight. Evening Lark. I think the right words feel heavy when you hold them in too long. If something keeps echoing inside you, it's probably meant to be heard. I read that 3 times, slowly. It's not just the words, it's the weight of them, the way they feel less like advice and more like someone noticing I've been trying to speak all this time, like they're listening to something I haven't said yet, which is strange because I've never told them anything real. No name, no school, no age, just fragments, pieces, but somehow they still see me. At school, everything feels sharper lately. I catch Elias looking at me in class again. Not often, not obviously, just long enough that it stops being nothing. When I raise my hand to challenge a reading, he turns his head. When I speak, his pencil pauses. When I laugh, rarely, he looks up like he's surprised by the sound. I try to ignore it, but part of me notices that his expressions are starting to remind me of something. Evening Lark writes like he's holding his breath between words, and Elias watches like he's listening for something no one else hears. It's probably nothing. It has to be nothing. Later that week, in the department library, I run into him again. He's sitting at one of the big wooden tables, a half-finished essay in front of him. His laptop screen glows pale against the window light. He's not typing, just reading. I don't mean to sit near him. I don't even mean to stay. But the other chairs are taken, so I take the one directly across. He glances up, then, slowly, pushes a spare bookmark across the table toward me. I think you dropped this last time. It's a quiet joke. I didn't drop anything. I raise an eyebrow. Are you giving me homework? He shrugs. I heard you like words. I open the bookmark. It's a quote, typed, cut out, glued to the paper like a quiet offering. Some silences are louder than speech. Muriel Rukesiver. My heart does a strange little jump. That's dramatic, I say, but my voice comes out softer than I mean it to. He smiles. Isn't that the point? I don't smile back, but I don't leave either. And he doesn't ask why I'm still there. That night, I post again. This time, I don't write a poem. I don't write a letter. I just ask one question. Do you think people can love each other through words alone? No answer comes right away. I close my laptop and go to sleep with the question still open. When I check the blog the next morning, his reply is already waiting. Evening, Lark. Yes, not just can, do. Words are how we leave ourselves behind, how we say, I was here, when we're not brave enough to speak it out loud. So yes, I think love can start there. I stare at the screen for a long time, rereading each line. Then I copy it into my notebook. Then I underline it, twice. There's something in me I don't quite know what to do with. Like wanting and fear are sitting in the same chair. I don't even know what he looks like. I don't know his real name. And somehow, that's what makes it feel safe. I don't have to be anyone else for him, just a girl who types thoughts into the dark and hopes someone replies. At school, it gets harder to separate the two versions of my life. In class, Elias says something about the use of silence in poetry. His exact words. Sometimes a pause says more than a paragraph. And I stop breathing for a second, because Evening Lark said something almost exactly like that 2 weeks ago, about how pauses are the breath between thoughts. It could be coincidence, it probably is, but the way he says it, slow, careful, like the words matter, makes something twist in my chest. I glance at him, he's already looking at me. After class, I leave quickly. I don't want to ask the question that's starting to build in my head, because I know once I ask it, I won't be able to stop looking for the answer. That night, I write a post on the blog. Not a question, not a poem, just the truth. You feel like someone I've known before, but maybe I'm just reading too much into this. Maybe this only works because we never have to look at each other when we're speaking. I don't expect him to reply right away. He doesn't. But 2 days later, he leaves something different. Not a comment, a message. Private. Evening, Lark. There's something I haven't said, not because I didn't want to, but because once I say it, the silence we've shared might change. You write like you know what it feels like to vanish. I read your words and feel like I've been found. But lately, I've started to think, maybe we already know each other, and I don't want to ruin that if I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I think you feel it too. I read it with my hand over my mouth. I read it again with tears burning at the back of my eyes. Then I close my laptop and press my forehead to the desk, because I do feel it, and I think I already know. I don't write back right away. I keep the message open on my screen, rereading it until the words blur. Maybe we already know each other. I think you feel it too. I do. I felt it for days, weeks maybe. But now that the words are out in the open, they feel heavier, realer. What if I'm wrong? What if I say something and it changes everything? What if it doesn't change anything, and that's worse? So instead of replying, I walk. Down campus paths I know too well, past the library, past the cafe with the flickering sign. It's late, but I don't want to go home. I want the air, the silence, the weight of something that isn't a screen. That's when I see him. Elias, sitting on a bench just outside the English department building. One leg crossed over the other, headphones in, head tilted back like he's thinking too hard or not at all. I almost keep walking. Then he looks up. Our eyes meet. He pulls out one earbud, doesn't say anything. I don't either. I sit down beside him. For a long moment, we just sit there, not touching, not looking at each other directly, but the silence feels like it's leaning towards something. Then, softly, he says, "You right." It's not a question. I don't answer. He adds, "I've read your words." I turn toward him slowly. "How long have you known?" His voice is quiet, careful. I didn't, not at first. And now? Now he looks at me, really looks. I'm almost sure. I swallow hard. Why didn't you say anything? He watches me like the answer is obvious. Because I didn't want to be wrong, and because part of me liked the version of us that could say everything without looking away. I nod slowly. Me too. Another pause. Then, "Cleo," he says, my real name, spoken like a line of poetry. "Can I show you something?" I nod. He pulls a folded piece of paper from his coat pocket and hands it to me. His fingers brush mine. They're warm, steady. I unfold it. Typed words, clean lines, my own sentence staring back at me. "You feel like someone I've known before." He looks at me, waiting. That was the line that made me know it was you. I fold the paper again, hold it in both hands like it's something fragile. "Your evening lark," I say quietly. He nods once. "And I'm me." His mouth lifts, soft. I've known that part for a while. The wind picks up. A leaf skitters across the pavement. Somewhere behind us, a window creaks open, then shut again. I ask, "So what now?" He shrugs slightly, eyes still on mine. Now I say something real. He shifts closer, just enough that I can feel the heat of him. "I didn't fall for a profile," he says. "I fell for your voice. I just didn't know I was already listening to it in two places." My breath catches. And for the first time, I don't feel like I have to say anything back. He's already heard me. I didn't expect it to feel this quiet. Not uncomfortable, just stripped down. Like the space between us has nothing left to hide behind. No screens, no usernames, no pause between typing and sending. Just two people sitting on a bench in the middle of a cold night, trying to figure out what comes next. Elias shifts slightly, elbows on his knees. I watch his fingers trace along the curve of his coffee sleeve. He hasn't said anything else, but I can feel the words circling, waiting. He finally looks over at me. "I meant everything I wrote." I nod. "So did I." He smiles, just barely. "That poem, the one you posted 2 weeks ago, about feeling seen without being touched, Some people hold you without using their hands, I quote. Yeah, he says softly. That one. His eyes meet mine again. He looks so much softer like this. Not unreadable, not guarded, just quiet. The kind of quiet I used to be afraid of. The kind that feels like it could hold you. I didn't think you liked me, I admit. In class, anywhere. He huffs a laugh. I was trying not to. That catches me off guard. Why? Because I couldn't explain why I wanted to keep listening to you, even when you were arguing with me about literary minimalism. I smile. You were wrong. I still am, he says, but you made it sound beautiful. The words settle between us. He's closer now, physically and emotionally. I don't remember when that shift happened, just that it did. And now, the only thing left between us is breath. I speak first. You didn't ruin it, you know, figuring it out. He nods once. I was scared I would. I was scared you wouldn't. He looks at me like I've said something he's been waiting to hear. Then, carefully, he reaches out, like he's checking if it's okay, and his fingers brush mine. It's the smallest touch, but it feels like a sentence I've been trying to finish for months. We sit like that for a while, fingers barely linked, silence thick with everything we no longer need to translate. That night, I don't post anything, but I open a blank page and start writing, just for myself. The hardest part wasn't falling for him anonymously. It was realizing I'd been falling for him in person too, even when I didn't want to admit it, even when I pretended not to notice the way he always waited a second too long before leaving a room I was in. Some people find you in places you weren't even looking, and sometimes they don't even have to speak aloud to be heard. He walks me home. We don't talk much on the way. The air is cold, but not biting. The kind of night that feels like it's holding its breath. The sky is clear. My hands are warm inside my coat pocket, but I still feel the memory of his fingers brushing mine. He keeps a step behind me until we reach the stairs to my building. I pause at the door. You want to come up? It's not a flirt. It's not casual. It's a quiet question that means I'm not hiding anymore. He nods once. Yeah, if that's okay. It is. More than okay. Inside, I kick off my shoes and flick on the little lamp by the window. The room glows in soft yellow. It's nothing special. Small couch, scattered books, a mug on the table with a tea bag still in it, but it's mine. He stands just inside the door, not moving yet. You can sit, I say, gently. He does. The couch creaks slightly under his weight. I sit beside him, not close, not far. We stay like that for a moment, just existing in the same space. No usernames, no quotes, no poetry to soften what we might say. Just me and him in the same light. I feel like I already know your apartment, he says eventually. I smile. Because of the way I write about it? Yeah, he says. Your tea, the string lights, the draft from the window, the way you said this is the only place where you don't feel like a performance. My breath catches a little. You remember that? I remember everything. And I believe him. I stand and cross to the bookshelf, pull something down. A notebook I've never shown anyone. The one I write in before I turn my thoughts into something polished for the blog. The rawest version of me. I hold it out. You want to read something real? I ask. Not the curated stuff, not the lines I post. His eyes search mine. Then he takes it, gently. He flips it open, reads a few lines, then looks up again. This is you. I know. And it's beautiful. My throat goes tight. He closes the book softly. Can I read it all later, with time? I nod. It's not going anywhere. He places the notebook carefully on the table, then looks at me. Neither am I. I don't know who moves first. Maybe we both do. But the next thing I know, we're kissing. Slowly, carefully, like the space between us was always meant to close. It's not a rush, not a crash, just quiet and warm, like a word whispered between two people who already know how it ends. Later, when he leaves, he kisses my cheek and says, "I'll message you tomorrow." I smile. "You can just text me now, you know." He pauses. Then, "I might still send you something on the blog, just because." I nod. Because I want him to. Because that version of us still matters too. I don't post anything for 3 days. Not because I have nothing to say, because for once, I don't need to say it there. Elias and I talk every day now, in person, through texts, in cafes, on benches, at my front door, with his hands still in his pockets, like he's unsure if this is all still allowed to be real. He still sends me lines sometimes, little messages that sound like him and feel like evening lark. They blur together now, one person, one voice, and for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like I'm split in half. Still, there's one more thing I want to write, something that belongs to the version of us that started in the dark. So I open the blog again. I don't draft this one. I just write. Post title: The Final Post. You don't know me, not really, but maybe you've heard me. In the quiet, in the space between lines. I used to think connection needed a face, a voice, a body, but maybe it just needs a space to be heard without interruption. You were that space. And now I know your name. And now you know mine. But part of me will always be grateful for the way we met, without pressure, without pretense, just two people learning each other one sentence at a time. I won't stop writing, but this part of the story is complete. Thank you for finding me in silence. Thank you for letting me be loud now. C. I hit publish. I don't wait for comments. I close the tab, tuck my knees under me on the couch, and smile. Because 5 minutes later, my phone lights up. It's Elias. Elias. Read your post. Still here, still listening.